My name is Tara Hart. I'm the proud co-chair of the Howard County Poetry and Literature Society, known as HoCoPoLitSo. And we have the delight and privilege to partner with the Howard County Arts Council and the Office of the County Executive to create a Youth Poet Laureate program in Howard County. On behalf of many people who worked hard behind the scenes to make this dream program a reality, allow me to warmly welcome you to this special celebration in what is really the most perfect place to showcase poetry and contemporary young voices. Can we show some appreciation for busboys and poets? You have this gorgeous shrine to one of the greatest American poets, Lucille Clifton, whom some of you know was HoCoPoLitSo's artistic director for many years when she lived in Columbia. And as I was just saying before, the best bookstore, I have to say, is perfectly curated. There's any book in there is a winner. So HoCoPoLitSo, which this year celebrates its 50th anniversary of enlarging the audience for world-class contemporary literature, was given the great pleasure of choosing the panel of judges who would receive the Youth Poet Laureate applications. And these applications included a selection of the applicants' own poems, as well as the story they chose to tell about what writing poetry has meant to them and what it would mean to them to serve their community as an ambassador of poetry. Every story and every poem was so thoughtfully and carefully reviewed and discussed by this distinguished panel, which consisted of some of the finest poets and poet educators in our region. They were Naomi Ayala, Stephen Leyva, and Joseph Ross. Their thoughtful recommendations were sent forward to Dr. Ball for his consideration and ultimate selection. HoCoPoLitSo looks forward to engaging with the inaugural Youth Poet Laureate at events all around the county this school year. I could go on about our excitement in working with this young person to inspire and educate our community, but I'm as eager as you are to hear the county executive's announcement. So let's keep things moving, and please welcome the Executive Director of the Howard County Arts Council, Colleen West, to the stage.
Thank you, Tara. That was a wonderful introduction. It is so good to be here in the heart of the Meriwether District at Busboys and Poets for the announcement of Howard County's inaugural Youth Poet Laureate. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the public officials joining us this evening. Delegate Jessica Feldmark, Delegate Terry Hill, Hunter Craig on behalf of Congressman John Sarbanes, Colette Gelwicks on behalf of Councilmember Christiana Rigby, Representative Mary Latourie, representative on behalf of Councilmember Liz Walsh, Dr. Terry Savage, Chief Academic Officer of the Howard County Public School System, Andy Shalal, owner of Busboys and Poets, Jennifer Jones, CEO of Howard County Economic Development Authority, and Truth Thomas, our first Howard County Poet Laureate. Thank you for joining us and for all that you do to support the arts in Howard County. The journey to develop the Poet Laureate and Youth Poet Laureate initiative started a little over a year ago when a group of us began working on HoCoPoLitSo's long-time goal of establishing a Poet Laureate position to recognize Howard County's incredible literary legacy and to mark HoCoPoLitSo's 50th anniversary. In June 2023, at the announcement naming Lucille Clifton Way, County Executive Ball was approached with the idea, and a few days later, his office called, and we began working on the details. It has been a real pleasure working with the County Executive's Office and HoCoPoLitSo to launch the Howard County Poet Laureate and Youth Poet Laureate programs as a way to inspire and connect our communities. I want to thank Dr. Ball for fully embracing the idea and lifting the program up. I'd also like to thank the HoCoPoLitSo team, Tara Hart, Pam Simonson, Tim Singleton, and Nicholas Trapper for bringing their expertise and experience to the process. They put together 2 outstanding reviews, one to recommend the first Poet Laureate, Truth Thomas, and one to recommend our first Youth Poet Laureate, who we will meet shortly. The Youth Poets panel included Naomo Ayala, a poet, educator, and arts administrator interested in the environmental issues. Naomo is the author of 3 books of poetry. Her poems have been published in numerous anthologies, and she has received several awards, including the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Legacy of Environmental Justice Award and the Larry Neal Writers Award for Poetry from the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. Stephen Leva is an associate professor at the University of Baltimore. His poems have appeared in numerous publications, including Scallywag, Nashville Review, and Best American Poetry 2020. He is the winner of the Cobalt Review Poetry Prize and the Gene Feldman Poetry Prize from Washington Writers Publishing House. His second book of poems, The Opposite of Cruelty, is forthcoming from Blair Publishing in March 2025. Joseph Ross is the author of 5 books of poetry. His poems have appeared in a wide variety of publications, including the New York Times Sunday Magazine, Xavier Review, the Langston Hughes Review, and the Los Angeles Times. In addition to teaching English and creative writing for the past 35 years, Joseph participates in readings and lectures across the country and serves on the poetry board at the Folger Shakespeare Library in Washington, D.C. On behalf of all of us involved in the program, I'd like to extend our deepest appreciation to Naomo, Stephen, and Joseph for their thoughtful review of the Youth Poet Laureate applications and for setting the bar high for the program's future. Howard County is well known for its vibrant, diverse arts community. We are fortunate to live in an extraordinary place with extraordinary artists and arts groups. And we are fortunate that our county government, under the leadership of County Executive Kathleen Ball, is expanding its support for the arts through record funding and new initiatives like the Poet Laureate and Youth Poet Laureate positions. I've had the honor of working with Dr. Ball on a number of initiatives during his many years of public service. Throughout, he has been a strong supporter and champion of the arts. Tonight, he is here to introduce you to our first Youth Poet Laureate. Join me in welcoming County Executive Kathleen Ball.
Thank you so much, Colleen. I know I'm messing up this whole contraption, but I want to make sure that everyone can hear us a little bit more clearly. Thank you all for being here this evening, and thank you for representing the very best in us. I think oftentimes we get caught up in the hustle and bustle of our lives and forget what we're living for, so thank you. I also want to let you know how excited I am to be here as we announce our Youth Poet Laureate. What a fantastic day for Howard County, for the state of Maryland, for our nation, for our world, and for young people who are going to have an even stronger voice. We're incredibly fortunate to have such an active and vibrant literary arts community in Howard County, and we are especially thrilled that poetry and the arts flourish among our students and our young people. From our schools and libraries to our energized downtowns and main streets, the arts are the heartbeat of Howard County, breathing life and meaning into our everyday lives. Within our arts and culture community, the Howard County Poetry and Literature Society and the Howard County Arts Council stand as beacons for artistic expression and a thriving local art scene right here. Through the years, HoCoPoLitSo has fostered an appreciation for literature and the written word with countless audiences, allowing attendees to interact with some of the world's finest writers. This has included hosting writers in residence for each of Howard County's high schools and for more than 30 years. Through the Writers in Residence program, our students have access to professional writers who visit schools and read and discuss poetry and literature, the writing life, and selected works. I want to thank HoCoPoLitSo and the Arts Council for their continued efforts to cultivate a strong literary community and encourage our next generation of writers and poets, of dreamers, of communicators. In partnership with our Howard County Arts Council and HoCoPoLitSo, we created this Youth Poet Laureate program last year, as you heard, with the goal of enhancing and uplifting the role of poetry in our community, especially among our young people. It brings me such joy to join these organizations tonight as we announce our inaugural Youth Poet Laureate. Youth Poet Laureates are among the most gifted literary talents, sharing their love for literature and poetic skills with our young people and our broader community. Our Poet Laureate will be an ambassador for literacy, the arts, youth expression in Howard County. The Youth Poet Laureate will demonstrate a passion for poetry and its power to connect our communities through local readings and participation in civic events, included within our school system. With this transformational change in mind, I'm excited to introduce Howard County's inaugural Youth Poet Laureate. Our Youth Poet Laureate is an avid writer and student at Oakland Mills High School. She is active in her school community, participating in the Youth Climate Institute, National Art Honor Society, National Spanish Honor Society, tennis, and theater. Our Youth Poet Laureate is also a winner of the Jack Coulter Young Writers Contest, a finalist for the Nancy Thorpe Poetry Contest, and a finalist for the Bennington Young Writers Awards. She is a skilled writer of beautiful, sophisticated, and contemporary poetry, and she was unanimously recommended for appointment by our esteemed review panel. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce her as the very first Youth Poet Laureate of Howard County. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our Youth Poet Laureate, Mayan Nguyen.
I have a little speech written down, but it's a little shorter than what you guys might be expecting after that. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come here, to be here. I know how busy all of you are, especially seeing how many Congresspeople that we have here today. So your presence is very much appreciated. I'd like to especially thank all of my English teachers who are here today for encouraging me in this and all of my other literary endeavors. As for this position, I understand that there's a great responsibility that comes with being the first, whether that means being the first child, first generation, or the first Youth Poet Laureate of Howard County. Through this position, I look forward to hopefully making poetry cool again. Not just poetry, but literature and reading in general, because the empathy and imagination that we gain from peeking into others' brains is simply invaluable. I am so grateful that I've been given this opportunity and I'm able to stand before all of you today. And in this coming year, I will be working towards making that vision come true. Thank you. So I suppose what my real job is to read you some of my works, my poetry. So I'd like to share with you my poem titled Knockdown. Today is slicked with vestiges of the sea, because last night it rained so hard the mulch outside was pounded into surrender, and I thought the roof might cave in too. Today the sun dries the pavement into canvas for masterpieces done in chalk, but I am molten, hardened under its glower, paper stiffened with water. Today in my bed I ball myself up like a fist and pull the blankets over my head. I pretend I am stuffed inside a coat pocket, collecting dust under the shadow of my own swing. Today, I wish I could knuckle my way into that little glass room above the Walgreens off Twin Knolls Road. Wish I had that pocket of space between this moment and the next. Today, every glass room becomes a terrarium, an aquarium, echoing their own reflections and looking as though nothing but the faculty of observation divides specimen from scientist. Today, I decide that I don't much like aquariums. To confine the sea is to imprison air within inflated lungs, an oxygen pocket that must exhale the instinct to drown. Today, my bed is my own island in an ocean of suns, salt refusing to release solid shore, shore refusing to erode, and my own hands become roof enough. Today, I will be all right. Someday, I will get back up. And so, I have one more that I prepared today. This one is called Earthlings. To the sun, Earth must look no larger than a marble that fits between two fingers. Inconsequential. Rolled across floors, sidewalks, weaving between buildings, because a building is a house, and a house is a home, and home is a place far from here. Cradled within rough palms is an egg yolk sun, bled raw from a shell flecked with dirt. This must be Eden tilted on its axis, hanging just a little lower, looming over glass and steel, arrogant enough to claim they scrape the underside of the kingdom of heaven. As such, the earth knows how to collapse in on itself, a predictable fate, something the heart does not yet understand. The only inevitable thing is gravity. Maybe it's better not to wonder why they stopped listening, and instead wonder when exactly one is demoted, from bright kid to teenage girl. Stars were always meant to die, after all, burning from the inside out, the brightest light behind closed eyelids. The death will trigger the birth of several other stars, each daughter destined to carry the same debris, because the best elegies immortalize. The moon turns its cheek from the memory of the collision, pretending it doesn't still orbit its own undoing, and somewhere, the clock ticks, two hands circling the center of the universe, another endless minutes. That's all for me.
Mayanne, congratulations on your appointment as our first Howard County Youth Poet Laureate, and thank you for sharing your poetry with us tonight. It was very moving. Thank you so much. And to all of our guests, thank you for coming, and we invite you to stay and meet our Youth Poet Laureate and enjoy appetizers until about 6 o'clock. So enjoy.